Well, what's up again, guys? Brian here at 3TR, and this is going to be a really interesting video because, for those of you that don't know by now, I'm sure you can tell from the title of the video. Today was the day that Screwattack uploaded their season finale battle for their Death Battle series of Vergil vs. Sephiroth, which was something I called well over a year and a half ago. I stated two things. One, that they were going to do this matchup, and two, it was going to have a bullshit outcome. And I'm happy to say I was proven right on both fronts. Now, before I begin, I just want to say right now, if you have seen the matchup and you enjoyed it, I'm glad that you did. In terms of entertainment value, I did as well. There was a lot of things in their analysis and a lot of things of how the match played out that I thought were clearly wrong or were just completely unfair. That made the match completely unfair, but as an overall matchup in terms of visual, it was very impressive and cool to look at. I thought it was really, really badass. I think the ending was just, you know, I thought it was wrong, but that's just me. And I just want to kind of take this time to kind of go over three of the primary criticisms that I have of the video in terms of how I feel that Screwattack does their matchups, and kind of my biggest fear moving forward I have in terms of my own matchup that I did for this type of matchup a while back. Number one, it is clear that it has always been clear from my perspective and a number of others that Screwattack's goal with their matchups is not to be analytical, it is to be entertaining. This was meant to be entertaining. They didn't want to make the match too long, and there was a lot of details in terms of their analysis that they left out, or they didn't understand the context of how certain abilities or certain things about each of these characters worked. I'm gonna go over three of them. Number one, the whole illusions thing is absolutely wrong because they didn't understand the context. Sephiroth has only been proven to have used that illusion ability in one place. And for those of you that haven't played the game, it is a place called the Whirlwind Maze. It is basically a set of caverns underground that is surrounded by Mako energy, which is pretty much the primary source of magic in Final Fantasy VII. When Sephiroth is surrounded by all of this Mako energy, he has a lot of extra abilities, including he also has a lot of extra abilities that are designed specifically for Cloud, which is why I'm really surprised that they didn't throw that into effect, because that would have made the matchup even more one-sided. So the whole illusions thing is wrong. He can only use it if he has a direct source of the life stream, which is basically this giant area of Mako. And heck, I won't even go into specifics and state that at that point, Sephiroth was in a stationary position, which, you know, even makes it even more crazier as for why he needed all this Mako energy in order to use the illusion ability. And he didn't do multiple illusions at once. He was only doing it one at a time, and basically just to kind of, you know, mock or kind of gloat Cloud in his party. So that was the first mistake. Number two, when Sephiroth healed. Now, I'm not saying that Sephiroth can't heal, because his powers do allow him access to a large variety of magic without the need of materia. And for those of you that don't know, materia is basically concentrated balls of magic that if you insert them into your body, they give you the ability to initiate a certain spell. Sephiroth doesn't need materia in order to do that. That's what makes him one of the most powerful magic users in Final Fantasy VII. However, in that sense, I don't like giving a character the ability to heal. Most of my matchups, most of my most popular matchups that I have done over my personal versus series of matchups are Final Fantasy characters. I don't allow them to heal. Each character has a very specific set of stats and amount of health and amount of damage that they can take. Even when you have the character maxed out, there are limits. If all these characters were given the ability to heal, the match would keep going. I mean, this is like one of the strongest abilities that one could use in, say, the Kingdom Hearts franchise. Is, you know, for tough battles. I mean, if you take too much damage, obviously you heal to keep yourself in the battle. I don't do that. I like these characters to be balanced. I like it to be fair. You will go into these matchups with the amount of health that you are limited to. You're not allowed to heal, and that's something that they definitely added, which I didn't appreciate. And number three is the biggest. It was the biggest bullshit reason, because this is something that I was criticized in my personal video, but I went into extreme detail as for why Sephiroth cannot do this. And that was when Sephiroth used Supernova. Okay, I don't know whether or not the people who did their research for Sephiroth knew this, or they just want to pretty much add do what or pretty much give him all of his abilities at once, which is something I said they were going to do. But Sephiroth cannot use Supernova in his base form. He can only do it in his safer mode. And in order for him to do that, he needed the black materia, which he spent half the game manipulating Cloud in order to give him. And then once he had the black materia, he had to go into the depths of the planet to a massive source of Mako energy. And then he transformed into Sephiroth Safer. I mean, he had a primary form before that, but the actual form itself that can perform Supernova is Sephiroth Safer. And I spent weeks answering comments criticizing why I didn't give him Supernova. That is why. That is the only version in official canon that can use that ability. And that is the biggest criticism I have with this matchup, is the fact that they did exactly what I said they were going to do. They took every single interpretation version of Sephiroth and put them into one body. I did not do that. In fact, I'm not even going to do that for a matchup I will be uploading next week, which I said specifically in my matchup of Vergil versus Sephiroth, I stated specifically that I'm sticking only to base form Sephiroth in the official canon. I did not take his appearance in Dissidia. I did not take his appearance in Kingdom Hearts to consideration. And there are a lot of abilities that those Sephiroths have that base form Sephiroth in the official canon does not have. My point for my matchups is to be as balanced as possible. When I make a matchup and I go into it, my thought pattern is not to do what Screwattack does, where they take all their stats, they say, okay, these are all their abilities, who has the better set of abilities? Obviously, they're going to win. Because it is just as important to put into account not the stats themselves, but how each character will apply them in specific circumstances. These are X factors that you have to put into play. You have to put into account their personality, their tactics. How would this person use this ability against this person? And they clearly did not put that into effect. Now, one of the primary criticisms that I got, because I'm gonna tell you this crazy story that just happened this morning, is that when the video was finally over and I finished it, I posted a comment saying I called they were going to do this. This was wrong. This is a bullshit outcome. I went to the bathroom for like literally 3 minutes. I came back. I had over 50 replies of all kinds of attacks. People were saying, what video are you talking about? It was like, oh, you're just trying to promote your own video. I want to make this very clear. I, at no point, am trying to promote my video is better than theirs. My video has been up for well over a year and a half. I'm incredibly proud of that video. That video is very, very successful. In fact, out of the over 1,000 videos that I've uploaded, that is within my top 5 favorite videos that I've ever worked on, and one that I'm most proud of in terms of success. I'm happy with the amount of success it has had. I'm fine. I'm fine at the rate that it gets views. I don't need a massive slew of views. That's not why I make these videos. I make them because I want to, and my viewers want to see them. But that is clearly not the focus for Screwattack. And it is clear that when they do matchups, they like to combine all these different versions of all these different characters, and it makes the match very unbalanced. When you go into a matchup, in terms of how I do things, I put into context, okay, it has to be between two characters that can lose. Now, the question is this. Can each of these opponents beat the other? There has to be a yes. Now, looking at their capabilities combatively, the question is who can actually perform the requirements to achieve victory more effectively. That is my mentality for all of my matchups that I have ever done. I think the only time I ever didn't think about that was probably in my Yuna versus Aerith matchup, but that was more of a parody matchup. But, I figured, that it would be funny to put those two against each other, even though realistically, if Yuna wanted to, she could just summon an Aeon and blow Aerith away. But I don't think Aerith's the type of person that Yuna would do that in, but that is beside the point. Anyway. It is just clear that our approach to doing matchups is very different. They want to entertain, and that's cool. Their formula has been very, very successful for years. I'm trying to be analytical. I'm trying to go into as much detail as possible, and I'm trying to make it as fair as possible. I'm not making sure that any one character is so overpowered that it seems one-sided. I hate doing one-sided matchups. In fact, I really hate it when I put in all this research and it ends up being one-sided. I really, really hate this type of matchups because it's not fun to do, it's not fun to work on, and it's not even fun to watch when I do it. But for this matchup, I like to be as fair as possible. I like to keep it balanced, and that is clearly not their focus. Now, again, if you enjoyed the matchup, that is perfectly fine. because in terms of the fight itself, I thought it was very entertaining. It's just the fact that I don't have the resources, I don't have a team behind me, I have to do everything myself. I spent 2 months working on my own video. I didn't have animations at the time. That's something I want to add. And even moving forward next week, I'm going to be uploading a matchup that is going to be pitting Kingdom Hearts Sephiroth against Devil May Cry 1 Dante. I'm not going to do what they did with Dante, where they basically took every version of Dante and put him in their one battle against Bayonetta. I want to keep this matchup as balanced as possible. But in closing, on my thoughts on this video, is simply this. My biggest fear from this video, the second that people who had seen my video and watched my channel, the second they saw this announcement, my biggest fear was that people are going to watch Death Battle's video. And then if they feel like it, they're going to watch mine. And then I'm going to be just attacked with this wave of criticism, which is something I had already been dealing with. It had pretty much quieted down. I mean, don't get me wrong. My video has had a number of people that disagree with me, respectfully, and they have made some very valid points. And I have respectfully countered their arguments, and that is the fun part of my videos. I like debating in the comment section. I like seeing other people's point of view, but I like to do it from an analytical point of view. I don't like to just say, oh, I think Sephiroth is far more powerful and he's far more popular. That's why he should win. I want to keep it as fair as possible. How can Sephiroth lose? How can Vergil lose? And then who would be more likely to achieve the outcome to gain victory? That is how that matchup is constructed. And a lot of people who've enjoyed that matchup see that. But that is clearly, again, not Screwattack's matchups version. That is not what they want to do. And that's okay. If they want to entertain, that is cool, but that is not my focus. And I just don't want to be attacked by all these people that like Screwattack's point of view and how they do matchups. Because again, I've enjoyed a lot of their matchups, and there's a lot of matchups that I think were just too one-sided and unbalanced, and therefore they weren't as enjoyable. This is one of them. But again, it is meant to entertain, not be analytical. And that's okay. It is just a tribute to how people like to do versus and debate videos. That is cool. So with that, those are just my thoughts on the matchup. I'd like to know, what were your guys' thoughts on the matchup itself? Were there any parts that you thought were bullshit, or you think there's anything they should have at least acknowledged or pointed out? Please let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, feel free to like, comment down below, and please subscribe for my future video. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.